okay, when we learn, we make mistakes. That's how we learn and we grow. So, for example, the next time you did real estate, you would know the lessons that you've learned, or you might need to find out more information, right? If you think about any business owner, almost all of them failed a number of times first, right? So you don't have to sit in that pain. She is right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, babe. That was a dumb move. But provide structure. Here's where you put adventure into stat. And I'd be like, but that was 5 years ago. you know, you're not wasting money anymore, is the point. In fact,
Well, originally when I reached out to you, it was like 2 days ago. It was after a really rough lecturing from my wife about how everything that I've done since we've gotten married has led to the end result of her thinking that I've ruined her life.
yeah.
And you know, and there's nothing special about it because I've heard it before. But on the way to work, I was like, you know, it hit different. So I was driving down work through like a, and cars are tight next to each other, construction, machinery all around, and then I had the terrible thought like, you know, accidents happen in construction zones, and if something were to happen, my wife's gonna be a millionaire because I have a life insurance policy that I'm insured for $1 million. And I was like, as soon as I thought that, I was like, wow, I can't believe that it even entered my mind. And at that point, I just kind of broke down and started crying because I was like, yeah, that's not me. Like I never thought of hurting myself or anything like that. It's just I hit the lowest point of my life so far, where the person that I married, the person I was supposed to live the rest of my life with, things that I'm like the worst of the worst. So um and that's pretty much it. It's just a culmination of a lot of things, and it's really um you know your program is helping me handle that stuff, but it's just like at that specific moment, it's just I I couldn't handle it. So
Dude, I want to just say I'm so sorry that you went down that path. And I don't know if you know or if you're aware, but this is a massive problem for men right now. It's the statistics are rising, self harm, suicide. Like it comes up, and I'll be perfectly honest. I felt things like that before too. You know, um, the ability to flip it off is we need to be able to recognize that, which you did, right? Otherwise, we'd have a much different conversation. But I want you to know that you're not alone, and so don't wait 2 days to get on a call if something like that happens. You reach out to me on my cell like ASAP, okay? Because I think
yeah,
when we're struggling with something like this, I mean, I talk about purpose, man. I talk about all the different things in your life that your purpose. It's not just your wife. It's not just your kids. It's not your job. When we talk about that, but we're still stuck with our wife. Like your wife treats you pretty poorly, right? And I
yeah,
think you've stumbled in the program a lot. Sure. I think that we can always improve. That's what we do anyway. We're never done. But identifying, since you've got the switch off, that we're not going to hurt ourselves by identifying this incredible relationship you're building with your kids, man. She does. That's one of the reasons why she's all upset with you. But you have nothing to be ashamed of with the way that you're learning to parent and the way that you're showing up. And you grab onto things like that, man. The same thing with your other purposes in life. And I know that I think you struggle a lot with that because you're hyper focused on, you know, I got to do this for my wife. I need things to change with her instead of focusing on you. And when you know you, dude, and you love you, those thoughts don't come in anymore. I don't want to say a bunch of names because I think that's such a personal issue, but
yeah,
there's a lot of men in the program. And actually, I think some of these new testimonial videos coming in are including some of those statements, like I wanted to kill myself. And yeah, man, we've got to direct you right now so we can focus on the other things. Channel that love inside, man, the man that you're proud of, because your wife does not define you. She's just the racing stripes on the car, man. Do you want to do that, or do you want to get some more of this out?
Um, I don't know. And I feel like I'm repeating the same old thing that I've shared before in terms of like, you know, think conversations like that come up really more often than I would like them to come up, and typically they end with no resolution. I know that I have to handle a conversation like that better, but typically they end up with like no resolution until they're brought up again. So it's like, um, I recognize that my part of the equation is not being able to guide the conversation, maybe to like reach some kind of a conclusion, maybe not um, a complete resolution, but like, maybe a step closer. And in conversations like that, I just recognize that, my wife is sitting in pain, and, if anything, at least she's opening up to me and tell me how she really feels. So I just
Yep.
end up listening to the conversation, and
Well, you don't have to just listen like that, right? So if you want to provide a stat response and provide some structure, the validation, start with that right there. Like, how are you validating her comment? What are you saying?
well, I say I understand
So
why
don't
you're
do that.
feeling.
Don't do that anymore. You don't understand
Okay.
that, because that's not true. That's telling her that she's correct, that you've ruined her life, and that's not possible. She makes her own decisions, her own choices, and she's part of this equation. Just because we take responsibility for our side doesn't mean it's all you. Okay. But
Yeah.
you can appreciate where she's coming from differently. You can say, well, that's a really shitty way to feel. Because that's true, right?
Yeah.
That's putting yourself in her shoes and understanding where she's at without telling her, yeah, you're right, I've ruined your life. We should never validate something like that. That's like saying that we make her feel something. Nobody can make anyone feel anything. Those are your feelings. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. The second thing is provide structure to lead her out of it, which would be curiosity, letting her feel, letting her vent, trying to uncover more. Right. So you would ask questions. Can you tell me more about like what specifically makes you feel like I ruined your life? And say it slowly like that. Say it very thoughtfully, because you should be curious. And it's not because we want to support this, it's because we want to let her feel and get it out. And then she might say, give me something that she tells you she ruins your life for, or her life. Sorry.
Um, I mean, like the most
Just pick
recent
one.
thing is, uh, oh yeah, we didn't need your cousins to come, live with us. Why did you bring them over here? They just, came in and turned everything upside down. If it wasn't for them, things would be different. So that was like the most recent and the thing that
Okay.
comes up more.
Okay. So that's pretty fair, right? Nobody wants to have roommates in their house. Pretty much when they're doing the married thing, or even a lot of times when they're single, when they're older, they don't want roommates anymore. I wouldn't, right? And so that one, you just go back to appreciating where she's coming from. Well, yeah, that I can understand why that's difficult. You know, do you want to tell me more about it? Or you could also say, would you like to make a change? And maybe you don't have your cousins live with you. What's more important, right? Like something like that could be an easy fix if you just think logically. Nobody wants roommates. It's imposing. Now I don't know the situation. For example, potentially you need the help with the mortgage. I don't know, but if you know where you're at as a man in control with your core values and what you're doing. I mean, for example, maybe he was the one to kill himself and you were helping him. Again, I'm just making stuff up, right?
Yeah.
But your core values would then love your cousin and need to do that right now. And in that case, you would have to own that, and your wife would have to understand. And if she doesn't, you still are a man for yourself first. right? Now, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean it won't be difficult. That would be a tremendously difficult situation. I'm making it up, but you have to find a balance some way, right? But see, in that case, you're letting her get out a normal, like, of course that sucks. Somebody's living in her house. What is something that you've done? Like potentially like um I don't know, you're not fun on dates. I don't know. Give me like the shit that's ruining it. Like what's the real thing? The cousins is just that's at the end of the day here, man. Like we're talking you've wasted all these years. What's going on? What else has she said to you? I know parenting stuff comes up,
Um,
right?
yeah, that comes up, and basically, I remember from our last conversation, how to parent specifically our daughter differently, and my wife obviously has noticed that, uh, in a way that in the fact that I don't do it the way she wants me to do it, and obviously, um, I guess she discusses that with our oldest boys, and they start like chiming in and saying, "Oh, why are you so less strict to our sister? When you were so strict with us and all that stuff." So, um,
All
um,
right. Well, you have a wife and kids that are different here. With the kids, answer the question. Well, to be honest with you, I'm learning a lot about parenting and I wish I could go backwards in time, buddy. But if you're doing the connection time with them, if you're loving them through it, letting them feel, let them rage on you, man. Let them get it out. It's the same thing. Now, for
yeah,
your wife is it's baby, can you tell me more? Tell me more about why you don't like connecting or me connecting with them specifically. Like you're now providing an opportunity for her to explain why something like connecting with your child instead of punishing them and getting
mhm,
them to be inspired to do better on their own, you're inspiring her to think about the direction that you want to go, right? And you're going to have to be patient because she's formed her opinion. But if you're slow, patient, understanding, okay, like she's going to probably do what she always does and well because she needs to be disciplined. I'm not being respected, you know, I can appreciate that. And you know, I would like to understand why you feel like connect, like just repeat your question,
yeah,
right? She if she's not answering it or she starts going off on all kinds of tangents, okay, I understand and you're very angry about it. It must be hard when she's disrespecting you like that, you know. Have you tried
yeah,
the connection time the way I'm doing it? Just for an example, and inspire. And dude, if she wants to, she'll end up just shutting down or leaving, but you've still shown up without being a douchebag. You've shown up
yeah,
leading how we have a conversation. You showed up curious, wanting to know more. You showed up understanding and being empathetic for her feelings. It is frustrating if your child's screaming at you, not listening, disrespecting. We can relate to that, right?
yeah,
But again, go back to your core values, which we discussed on that other call. Like, you know, you want to do parenting different. You know you do. And
yeah,
I mean, Catherine's not taking that from me. You're not that she's trying to, but your wife doesn't have to take it from you either, right? That's her leading you if we let that happen, right? And
yeah,
then when you start stacking all of these failures on top of each other, you start to feel like you're never good enough. Your nice guy comes out, right? It would be easier if construction zone, she could make a lot of money if I just go right now, right? Because nobody wants to feel like they're not good enough. But if you understand, fuck, man, I'm proud of who I am, and I love the way I'm connecting with my daughter right now. I can feel the difference with, and I know you have. I know you've said that, like you guys are your relationship is getting so strong. So she could be jealous of that. And if you keep asking questions, maybe that will be the answer that comes out. And you don't have to feel bad doing any of that because you love the connection and the relationship you're building with your daughter. And by letting your boys feel and be jealous and upset and angry or think it's because she's younger, whatever, you're going to build the connection with them. And maybe that'll make your wife more jealous of you. But you're going to keep going, whatever it is she says that ruined her life, right? She's grumpy every day because you're a terrible father, because you don't discipline the same way that you're supposed to, my way, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, that logically speaking, does that make you feel like you're not good enough? logically speaking. No, it sucks that she's trashing you, sure. But at the end of the day, don't you feel pretty proud of the dad you are right now? The one you're becoming and getting better and better and better. So using that example, I don't need to end my life. I don't even need to slap my own wrists. It just sucks that I have to let my wife feel like this until she figures it out, until she starts to follow my lead.
Yeah. And just to clarify, I, the whole thing with, how I was feeling 2 days ago, like I never had any thoughts of like ending my life in any way. I was just like thinking, freak accidents happen, that type of stuff. I'm
Yeah,
I'm too
I knew that.
selfish. I'm too selfish and scared.
I knew that from the way you described it, because that was exactly how I felt. There's no way I wanted to do it, but it's not like the thoughts weren't fleeting. And there's other thoughts, like one of our lords, I don't know if you saw, but his wife is talking to a friend. I think it was rat poison that he saw a text over or something. And Catherine, she used to say she'd smother me with her pillow or think about doing it when I was passed out or whatever. So I think there's thoughts on both sides. I just know it's a real problem for men. And I get flack for it all the time, dude. But I knew you weren't there. But I think it's important to bring it up that, again, if we're taking responsibility and we're proud, I don't want those thoughts to ever get bigger. You start to look in the mirror and go
Yeah.
through all the things that you're trashed over and realize that, like, it's not possible for you to ruin her life. She could literally leave right now. You're taking responsibility for your side of the marriage and showing up. Parenting is one massive issue that you have, where of course it's ruining her life because it's every day she's with her daughter, or your daughter, and it's frustrating for her. How is that your fault? Right? It's not. If you're showing up and doing the right thing, then we start to just look at those things. So maybe something that could be really helpful for you is kind of like what I suggested with one of the other lords the other day. Whenever she tells you she ruined your life, you post that comment or the thing that you suck at into Lords, do a video, just get real comfortable doing it. And if you want, you can text it. But I think the video is more powerful for you. And if you presented looking at the video, even if it's a terrible take, it doesn't have to be perfect. But, well, my wife just told me I ruined her life, and it's because she's miserable with my kid every day because I'm a bad discipliner and I'm a bad dad. But I know that's not true. In fact, and then support it with why you're a great dad. And then you don't have to let those thoughts make you feel like you're a bad person. And it's the same thing with so many of the lords. When the wives are holding so much contempt, she's blaming you for all these other things. But let's be honest, if you can start to direct with stat responses, direct some of those feelings she's having, getting to the root of it, really, she's going to identify with, oh, yeah, I guess I wouldn't have to discipline my daughter if she's just listening to me like she's listening to my husband. And if she doesn't, that's not on you. And I feel sorry for her because your daughter deserves that. I feel sorry for your daughter. And that's where it's even more important for you to show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now by doing this, you've released yourself, man. You don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel like you're not good enough. It's not because you're looking for approval from lords or validation from them instead. It's because you own, and it's just a safe place to own that you're fucking awesome. For anything she says she's trashed you about. Now, there is a flip side. There's a flip side. There might be something. Let's just say I'm going to make something up. You're a terrible provider, right? We can't do anything. You've ruined my life. Also, not your problem. But I would understand why I would own something like that, right? I didn't in the past, but now I would, right? And so you can still know that you're good enough. And maybe it's like, well, I'm good enough. That's not really again, she can get a job. She can, start doing investments. She can do all kinds of things too. She's a person. But as a man, you might say in the video something like, but I can still own that one. I want to do better. You see, so it doesn't matter if it's something that would be true or not. This would go for your mistakes. She starts bringing up the past all the time, right? Because you used to yell, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I can appreciate where you're coming from. Do your video because now you don't yell. Now you don't shut down. I am awesome. I am good enough. I'm not ruining her life. She's actually ruining her life if she's still yelling and nagging and complaining and bitching about the guy that doesn't exist. It's not on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we should talk about that you really feel like you do feel guilty, shame, something that yeah, I guess I did contribute to ruining, quote unquote, ruining her life. Is there anything that we should talk about?
Yeah, actually, with your previous example about the provider thing, it's like I um I I feel like I'm even failing even by the society solutions as you call them. I'm failing even based on that. Like when you say, "Oh, I'm a provider. I should. I'm this awesome guy." It's like I'm not doing so hard on that area as well. And it goes back to years ago when I made a decision to back in 2013 we moved to a new city, and I almost immediately started like, hey, let's go into real estate, flip a house. And that took us on a path of debt that we're still in it. So we're in a situation right now where I make enough money to to pay the bills, pay the credit card minimum payments, and then there's like too much month left at the end of the paycheck. So when she goes there, I it's impossible to not agree because hey, here I am, working, and we are not even, I don't know, not even treading water. So it's like that's my biggest.
Well, but T, you gotta realize something here. Okay, when we learn, we make mistakes. That's how we learn and we grow. So, for example, the next time you did real estate, you would know the lessons that you've learned, or you might need to find out more information, right? If you think about any business owner, almost all of them failed a number of times first, right? So you don't have to sit in that pain. She is right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, babe. That was a dumb move. But provide structure. Here's where you put adventure into stat, and I'd be like, but that was 5 years ago. you know, I'm not wasting money anymore, is the point. In fact, I'm using all my money to pay off my debt every month, but we're not going to go prove it. That's where you may
Yeah.
be confusing with society solutions. You start to defend yourself. That's a safe reaction. If we go down that path, your survival mode, we don't need that. But then, thinking about how you're trying to validate yourself, like understand that I am good enough. I made a mistake. That's just, I wouldn't do that again. Or I would be more cautious in the next thing I invest my money in. And then what can I do about it now? Can I actually make some more money right now?